Good morning and welcome to the Morning Walk with Bill Corley. Today's video is going to be a short one, but there'll be longer videos in the coming week because starting Friday, I'm taking a week off. Yay! It occurred to me that I hadn't actually taken any time off this year so far from work. Working Monday through Friday, and then in many weeks also getting in some evening and weekend work too. When you have these deliverables, you really don't have a choice but to get them done. So, with that in mind, a couple of things to report on. First is from my sort of monthly resolutions video a few days ago. One of the things that I said I was going to start this month was to start the process of getting in shape. So I signed up for the year-long Scrawny to Brawny program. If you're interested in what the heck I'm talking about, you can just look up Scrawny to Brawny at Precision Nutrition and take a look at that. So put in all of my info, and I guess starting next Monday, that's when the program begins. They're going to have me take pictures of myself and measure my weight and my body fat and all these other things, and then we're going to get going. And supposedly a complete program of exercise and nutrition. And a year from now, hopefully, I won't be the sort of blah guy, but I'll be all big and brawny. We'll see how that works out. I'll keep you posted. So that's one thing. The second thing is, so although I've known the general outlines of it for some time, I've become increasingly interested over time. And I sat down yesterday and spent a little over an hour watching the excellent video series on Bitcoin that can be found at khanacademy.org. I've mentioned this before, but you really owe it to yourself to check out khanacademy.org, Khan academy.org, where they have free videos on so many different subjects. It's a really cool website. At any rate, I watched the entire video series that they have there on Bitcoin, which delves far enough into the details for me finally, I think, to understand what's going on under the covers. And I think I'll say some things about that. The main thing that I came away with, though, is that rather than thinking of Bitcoin as coins or as a digital instantiation of some physical media of exchange, what Bitcoin really is a transparent, decentralized, secure, unalterable ledger system that records transactions between anonymous parties. Now, I mean, these parties may not truly be anonymous if you happen to be privy to, one side of any given transaction, and you might be, say, shipping something in the physical world or selling something to somebody where in order to sell it to them you need to know something about them, then you could certainly correlate that anonymous address string with a human being. But the Bitcoin system does encourage people to use a different anonymous string for every transaction that they engage in, and so therefore the idea, if you desire it to be so, then not complete anonymity, but a lot of anonymity can be maintained. But the important thing is not that. I mean, plenty of people will talk about, well, with this anonymity you can transact in drugs and guns and all sorts of unsavory things and launder money and move it across borders. And yes, that's true. The same can basically be said with physical cash. But the main difference with Bitcoin is that it creates a decentralized, open, transparent, unalterable transaction history. And the way that new Bitcoins are brought into existence, which is by doing the work necessary to validate that entire transaction chain as new transactions arrive, and the slow rate at which they're parceled out, and the ultimate limit of 21 million that's built into the protocol, means that really it's a ledger system in which centralized powers basically can't cheat. They can't create more money, more bitcoins than there actually are. They can't lie about who possesses them. They can't move money from one person to another. None of these things basically can happen because transferring money from one Bitcoin address to another requires the use of a private key, which is only known if you've taken appropriate safeguards by the person who originally generated it. And so, secure, private, anonymous, and basically untamperable. And frankly, those facts, forget about the rest of it. The rest of it is what banks and governments will use as the reason that they want to crack down ultimately on Bitcoin. But it's not really the reason. The reason is that it's a system outside of their control. And government and the crony organizations that have grown up around it to feast at its teat depend for their very existence and for the wealth of their membership on the ability to manipulate and control the money supply and to direct its flow into favored uses. I mean, yeah, there's this guy Ben Bernanke, but he's a tool, right? He's never had a real job in his entire life. His entire life has been as an academic economist, which is one step above being a reader of the cast bones or something like that, because you attempt to use differential equations to describe human action. But that's a topic for another day. The important point, though, is that you just can't make more of the stuff. And so much of the global economic insanity that we're in now is either as a direct consequence of the ability to manipulate the money supply, or is an indirect consequence of prior manipulations of the money supply by these self-same banks, both commercial and central, and the mechanizations of the national governments that support them. So having a ledger system to use for irreversible cash-like transactions that is utterly outside the control of the government and central commercial banks is an existential threat to the current world order. Let's make no mistake about it, because the money system is absolutely at the core of the economic system. And I can't tell you how happy I'm going to be watching this work out. Because, as I said in my video on Happy Thoughts the other day, I fundamentally believe that that good will win in this battle, to put it as starkly as I can. And that in order for human prosperity and peace to exist, we basically have to all be equal in front of the law. And when I say the law, I don't mean the government law. I mean, the law of relationship between each other, and having an unalterable, open, transparent, peer-to-peer, decentralized ledger system for where the money is, I think is an enormous step towards making this happen. Now, of course, the total volume of Bitcoin is small right now. When the market value, if you will, is measured against the government currency, it's tiny, it's insignificant. But these things have a tendency to grow exponentially. And given that the Federal Reserve only has two tools at its disposal, money printing and Brawny, eventually the efficacy of those tools will wear thin. And at that time, you're probably going to wish that you had done the work to create some Bitcoin addresses, to become familiar with the concept and to become familiar with how to move cash from the physical or government money world into the Bitcoin or virtual money world. So that's on my list of things to do this week, is to, while I'm on vacation, is to set up my first Bitcoin offline wallet and, put a couple $100 worth of Bitcoins in it, and see how that goes. So I'll fill you in on how that works. Again, if you have any comments, anything you'd like to hear me talk about, put them down below. And if you like this, hit the subscribe button. That's it for me. I'm out. Have a great day and be kind to one another. Bye.